Welcome back to JRTV, where coverage continues of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series 2003 season, and we're here for race number 4 at the Rockingham Speedway for the running of the Subway 400. This is always one of those classic racetracks you come to where we're used to seeing long green flag runs, heavy tire wear. This is a racetrack where the driver can really make a difference, and Trey, qualifying showed that for sure. We have some underdogs starting towards the front. Benny Lynn for Chip Ganassi Racing starting in second. His teammate Nathan Stapleton starts inside the top 10 in 7th. How about Angel Gutierrez for AJ Foyt Racing? They've only made the Daytona 500 so far this season, but Gutierrez put that number 14 inside the top 10 in 8th, and then Matt Oskin in the 81 for Fitz Bradshaw Racing put that car inside the top 12 to start in 12th place. So Trey, all these underdogs starting well. We have some other underdogs, kind of further up in the mid-pack, further up than they're used to being in terms of starting races. Is that going to be a trend we're going to see today where maybe some of these smaller teams, these underdogs, can fight for top 10, top 5, maybe even a victory here today at the Rockingham Speedway?
Well, Joe, it seems like they got a good car that, can do a couple laps fast, but, we know coming to this track that it's going to be who has the best long-run car, right? What are the chances we get a caution here?
Very, very, very low, and yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit later when we get to the track facts, but cautions don't normally come here at the Rockingham Speedway, and that's why track position means so much. And someone who these underdogs have to go through if they want to try and win this race today is the pole sitter Matheus Wells in the 20. The last time we were here at Rockingham towards the end of last season, it was Wells who reigned supreme. He led 77 of the 79 laps in a dominant victory, which propelled him up into the points lead, which then led to that championship they got last season. So Trey, Wells starting on pole once again here at the Rockingham Speedway. Could he make it back-to-back Rockingham dominated victories, or does someone else have a shot at him?
I think a lot of people are going to be rooting for this 20 because, it's like you said, we already know that he can absolutely dominate, and the only laps he didn't lead were probably laps under the green flag pit stops, right?
Yep.
So how are you going to beat a guy like that knows this track so well?
It's going to be hard, but I know that guy in third place, Justin Zeidel, he might be a little bit hungry. He still hasn't won since that 2000 Southern 500 at Darlington, so it's been a long time for Zeidel. Maybe he could try and be aggressive on the start and try and overtake Wells before the 20 can get too far away. But someone who we really have to talk about after all that has gone on in this past week is last week's winner, Zachary Fitzwater Sr. in the number 2 car for Penske Racing. It was such a great celebration. I have not seen, in interviews after the race, more drivers go and say, I'm happy about the driver who won, right?
Yeah, they were, I don't remember the last time I've seen all these drivers come together like that.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, NASCAR didn't really come together about being like, oh, we're happy about the winner, because they discovered that the number 2 car was not legal within the NASCAR rulebook after his victory at the California Speedway. So Trey, he went from winning the race on this high of highs, moving up almost inside the top 20 in points. He still gets to keep the victory, he gets to keep the trophy, but he doesn't get any points associated with it. So Trey, entering into the 4th race of the season, Fitzwater is now 41st in points. After next race at Atlanta, we base off of this season's owner's points for who gets locked in inside the top 35. So Fitzwater has some work to do. And if matters could get any worse, they did here this weekend. We were going to say, how's Penske Racing going to, how are they going to react to this news? Well, it looked like it was good. Fitzwater came out here and qualified in 6th place. But then Trey, post-qualifying inspection, bit Fitzwater, and he drops back to 42nd to start.
Yeah, he's not normally, I think this is the happiest I've seen Fitzwater before, all this happened. It was probably the happiest I've seen him in years. Is that safe to say? Probably years?
Probably.
And then, you get hit with the after-race inspection, which, it sucks that you lose the points and all that, but, at least you get to keep the hardware, right, that comes with it and all that. But then you get it again, right?
Yep.
So now you're going to start to question, what are we doing wrong? It's not that Fitzwater, is really doing anything wrong. It goes down to, the crew. Clearly there's something that is not clicking and NASCAR's finding it, and they're paying the price for it.
And the bad thing is that it happened this weekend of all the races, right? If it happens next weekend at Atlanta, it's Atlanta. You can move through the field there pretty easily. Here at Rockingham, if you come from 41st or 42nd all the way up inside the top 10, I'd even be impressed, let alone a top 5 or a victory.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if there's one person we're going to want to keep an eye on today, it's going to be Fitzwater in that too, because he's starting all the way at the back. He's got to get through everyone, and I don't think he's going to be doing it the nicest of ways.
Probably not. And I'm also going to be watching for that mid-pack, because there are a lot of big-name drivers starting outside the top 20, outside the top 30. Think about Zachary DeLello is back there. 3 of the 400 cars are back there. Strickland, Sierra, and Thompson all start poorly. Keyshawn Richardson's back there. Chris Jericho, Sebastian Kukulon, Mitchell Collins, Ryan Wilson, the only DI car, did not start inside the top 12 here today. So Trey, Justin Ack gets all the way back in the last row. He qualified 42nd. He was the slowest car here because he made a mistake on his qualifying lap. He's back in 42nd. Trey, there are a lot of big-name drivers, big-name teams that have to come from the mid-pack to try and get a decent result here today, because a lot of them don't really have the points they need to be safe for the top 35. Jordan Stout, Keegan Thompson, Matthew Burnett, all very low in points, and if they have a bad day here today, they're running into Atlanta in the danger zone.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation we seem to be finding ourselves coming into, like you said, the last race of the first 5. So these drivers are going to be trying to get any position that they can, especially, like you said, if they know that they're in danger of not making that top 35.
All right, well, let's take a look at some of our facts here for the Rockingham Speedway. It's a very dreary day. We got spoiled with the California weather the past 2 weeks. It's anything but sunny here at the Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. Very windy, very cold. It's not the best combination, and I'm sure the fans aren't very happy about it, but maybe the drivers are, because they won't be too hot in the race cars. And very unique track length here at the Rockingham Speedway, which leads to a 79-lap race, just over 80 miles in length. Watch for the fuel window. This could be very big. They go about 42 laps, maybe about 45, 46 on a tank of fuel. However, if you want to try and get aggressive with strategy, tires wear out 2 to 3 seconds over a long green flag run here. They might come in around lap 40 or so, try to get the tires sooner, and then get out there with the fresh tires and undercut people that way and pass cars on the racetrack that way. I mentioned how unique this track is. It's unique in the banking as well. 22 degrees of banking in turns 1 and 2, but the steeper banking in turns 3 and 4, 25 degrees. Both ends very, very different. 8 degrees of banking on the straightaways as well. This is a track unlike any other that we see anywhere in any racing series. And I had mentioned about the caution stats before. Well, in the last 6 races here at the Rockingham Speedway, there's been a total of 1 caution. It came in this race last season and actually cost Eli Bright the victory in the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet. We'll see if another caution comes here today at the Rockingham Speedway, and we'll see if Eli Bright can try and get redemption from this race 1 year ago. We're about to find out how it all turns out. 42 cars about to come to life here in Rockingham, North Carolina. But let's go down trackside to get the command to fire the engines up for 79 laps of action, the 4th race of the season.
Drivers, start your engines!
42 cars rolling for a quick pace lap here at the Rockingham Speedway. Let's quickly talk about the man starting in 5th place, Trey, because Nolan Lawrence, very consistent at the Rockingham Speedway in this car last season. He got 2 6th place finishes here at the Rockingham Speedway. He starts 5th today. Could he be the one to challenge Matheus Wells for the race victory?
I mean, it's anything's possible, right? Especially at a track like this with the type of racing we see here. So I'm not willing to count anyone out of this thing.
And I mentioned, Matheus Wells won this race, won a race here last season. Watch for Evans starting in 9th place. He won here back in the 2000 season. He knows how to get down at Rockingham if things align the right way. But we're going to be watching some of the underdogs as well, like Benny Lynn on the outside, the front row to his inside. Last season's champion, Matheus Wells in the 20. They come down the front stretch to the green flag, and we're underway in the Subway 400. Front few hugging that white line down the bottom. Matheus Wells leads the first lap from pole. Zideldo not letting him get away. Right on his bumper in 2nd. Lawrence to 3rd. Stapleton to 4th. Battle for 5th is Evans and Benny Lynn going at it. But Trey, early on in this race, they have so much grip. Everyone trying to get the spots now. And also, since it's cloudy out, you have even more grip in these tires in the racetrack.
Yeah, you definitely have to think the guys probably in the front half of this field are gonna, be trying to get any positions that they can and then start to settle out. But honestly, if I'm like probably say mid pack or back, might as well, take your time and kind of settle in here. I mean, you ain't really got to rush to get up front. And if these guys up here, start to wear their stuff out here pretty early, racing each other like we see, I mean, it's only going to benefit you on the longer run.
Yeah, you can see some of the cars that start on the outside starting to fade back. They just can't get down to the bottom. Benny Lynn started outside the front row. He's already backed up outside the top 10. Eli Bright just behind him started in 6th place. He's backed up outside the top 15 in that number 8 and still losing spots. So Zachary DeLello. Battle for a second is on. Nolan. Oh, look out back there. Hunter Reed back up the track. He gets Matt Tuck, who saves the car. Ryan Wilson.
Oh, no.
Oh.
He just... Well, Joe, so much for a long green flag run.
Yep, so much for staying calm here at the Rockingham Speedway. The yellow is out for the first time today on lap 5. Wells has not taken the caution flag. He's the only car on the track not to, so he's racing back around here.
And now he has it.
Yeah,
Alrighty. Well, that was that escalated quickly. I mean,
I want to talk about this man. I mean,
that was an absolute. Honestly, can you get a better save than that?
There's very few times I would say there's a better save than that. That was impressive out of Matt Tuck. I cannot believe he did not hit any wall around this racetrack. That was already Save of the Year candidate.
No, you've been commentating for how long, and where do you even rank that in your saves that you've seen?
That is top tier. But Trey, here we go. This is some of that strategy calls that we're talking about. The tires wear so much here. What do? Do you come down now, right? And you've only had 5 green flag laps on your tires, but maybe it's enough to make a difference here.
And honestly, I don't think there's a person that surprises me more or doesn't surprise me more taking a strategy call than a 31 team. I mean, they're known for doing some of the stuff out of the box, you could say, controversial maybe.
Well,
so we'll have to see how this move works.
The only problem here is that he didn't have a lot of guys come with him. If he had more cars come with him, like half the field, I'd say, oh, this is a good call. But he only took 2 tires as well. It's him, Sierra, Collins, DeLello. I don't know if it's going to work out, especially only on 2 tires.
It almost seems like this might not sound the best, but it makes sense that some of these bigger teams like RCR, you see HMS and the 16, some of their guys that aren't really up front at the moment, they're kind of using them as guinea pigs almost to see how this call works.
You also have to wonder if maybe that they just come down and get that splash of field. They want to go longer on that green flag run in case the yellow comes out, because it's a short track. You can trap people a lap or 2 down if the yellow comes out during pit cycles. These guys were involved in the crash. They're getting back going, but the first yellow is out here at the Rockingham Speedway. Hunter Reed and Ryan Wilson made the first contact and then was on from there, creating a multi-car accident here at the Rockingham Speedway. Normally, we don't see too many issues with 3 wide here at the Rockingham Speedway, but it just happened on this accident. They came together off turn 2. Hunter Reed, really, that just looks like Wilson came up into him.
Yeah, I don't... It definitely doesn't look the best, and especially when a guy goes pretty much head-on, but watch his 32.
Look at the 54, the 14 as well.
Goodness. They did an amazing job missing those 2 cars. And then right here... I don't know what's going through Wilson's head.
This is the second questionable thing of this wreck that Wilson's done.
Yeah, he just doesn't hit the brake.
Well,
I don't know.
He
gets Keegan Thompson involved, a big hit to the 11.
Mitchell Collins, but last race, the crash that Jasper Motorsports got taken out in, it was the 67, the 15 that hit first. The 15 just came up into the other Jasper car this time.
Yeah, well, I don't know what Wilson and Jasper are fighting about, but it seems like that 15 is trying to take out all of them.
It does, and we'll go take a look at this wreck from a few more angles as Ryan Wilson, Hunter Reed made contact, and others got collected in the melee. And here's another view of the crash as they come together off turn number 2. Hunter Reed taking the heaviest hit. Matt Tuck, once again, that amazing save.
He's facing that inside wall. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he just pretty much nailed the 77 and takes out the 43, the 11, the 30 had a hard hit. The 43 isn't even moving. I mean,
that was a bad wreck for Petty Enterprises. Both their cars are going to be done.
It was. That was there's going to be some angry drivers and owners after this thing.
Yes, there are. And Mathis Wells in the 20, he's not too angry so far because he's the current race leader from pole position here in the Subway 400 at the Rockingham Speedway. "70 laps to go at the green flag when we get it here at the Rockingham Speedway for the Subway 400. Mathis Wells still the leader from pole position here at the Rockingham Speedway. 2 cars to the garage, and they're both the Petty Enterprises Dodges of Hunter Reed and Roberto Crown Jr. Unfortunately, Roberto Crown Jr., the team owner, not going to be the happiest from this one here today. But it's Mathis Wells still happy so far in the race lead from pole. Second place, Nolan Lawrence trying to pick up where he left off here last season at the Rockingham Speedway. Back-to-back 6th place finishes, maybe 5 spots better this season. Zeidel right where he started in 3rd. Nathan Stapleton holding steady in 4th. And Hernandez up to 5th from 11th spot. Luke Rennie's now in 6th. Jay Randall from the midfield up to 7th. Riley Spurgeon was down 8th, but in line. Then Bibby Ruiz up to 9th. And 10th place for Tim Gary. Watch that number 10. He's moved up quietly in points and trying to join his teammate up at the top of the list. But it's Mathis Wells in control for the restart. He gets going, but Lawrence with a little bit of a better jump there from 2nd spot.
We'll have to see how they set it out. Oh, we're going to have a pass for the lead.
Lawrence to the inside of Mathis Wells. Already more challenge than Wells had in this race last season. Down the back into turns 3 and 4. Zeidel goes high. That gives Stapleton 3rd place on the bottom. But it's Lawrence now clear and out in front for Evernham Motorsports. He'll lead the 10th lap of the Subway 400. Wells going to try and get in line 2nd. Hernandez close with Randall to turn 1 and 2. And they'll get the spot from Justin Zeidel to 24. Back it up on the outside in the restart.
Yeah, there's probably one thing Wells did not want to happen on that restart, and that was that 19 getting a great, jump, and ended up going against him here, and we have a new leader. But this 24, Joe, does not look happy right now.
No, it does not. He cannot get to the bottom. Once he went high with Wells there, maybe thinking the 20 would get the roll through 3 and 4 on the top. That's the opposite of what happened, and now the 24 is backing up and sliding back. Here comes one of his teammates, Lathan Strickland in the 48, who started back in the mid-pack, but Strickland now just outside of the top 10, and now going to move into the top 10 as he gets by his teammate, the number 24, Justin Zeidel. Here comes Burnett and Sarah Kirchner, the 33. She was the fastest in practice yesterday, so watch for that 33 car in a long run. She could be one to watch here as the race plays out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's still hard to figure out who has the best car and who doesn't. Here's a guy who almost had his day ended on lap 3, but he's still charging along here, Joe.
Yes, he is. Jack Carter in the 54 doing well. He's moved up inside the top 20, passing Benny Lynn, Eli Bright. Both those cars started inside the top 10, so Jack Carter doing well in that Bell Carter Motorsports 54 as Kukulon looks on the number 24. Zeidel still fading back. Justin Zeidel cannot catch a break. He's now down to 16th place, and he'll slot in line right there. So he restarted in 3rd and now down to 16th. That is just, that's the opposite of what Justin Zeidel wanted right there.
Yeah, it seems like the struggle of the 24 seems to continue here week after week. At some point, you got to hope it's turning around, right?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, Justin Zeidel, he can't take too much more of this and in his career, and hopefully he can try and break that winless streak soon. And he's still not out of this one. I mean, there's still a lot that can happen here at the Rockingham Speedway, but definitely going to be harder to win from that 16th spot as Jay Randall moves 1 spot closer to the front. To 4th place, he goes in that number 97. Hernandez kicked back to 5th and all that. Luke Rennie and Riley Spurgeon, the teammates from Rivalry H Racing, continuing their string of good races, up in 6th and 7th place. And Spurgeon could leave today as the points leader if everything works out. Evan Hunter doesn't have the best of days, as that 36 started pretty deep down in the field for his standards this season.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see how things turn around here, as it looks like we might be catching our leader. Maybe a little bit.
Stapleton and Hernandez got a little close. The 1 moves low. We have a car off the pace. That's the 11. Unfortunately for Joshua Harrison, who got involved in that crash, has some damage, as there's a little bit of a stack up back here. So the 1 and the 42 got close. That put the 28 of Riley Spurgeon to the outside. And Bibby Ruiz, for the 2nd straight race, is showing some muscle in that number 7 car, that Melling Ultra Motorsports car. Once again, not one of the top tier cars in this series, but Bibby Ruiz got a top 10 and ran in the top 10 all race long at California last week, and now riding into the top 10 in 7th place here today at the Rockingham Speedway. It is great to see these smaller teams performing.
Yeah, definitely. It's always fantastic to see that here, and this is one of those races where, again, like we said, you never know what can happen.
No, you can't. And this man, He knows how to get it done in any car he gets into, whether it be a Bill Davis racing car or a Hendrick Motorsports car. He's won in everything. Looking to now win in a Roush racing car. Jay Randall, that number 97, has moved up to second place and is tracking down our race leader, Nolan Lawrence, in the 19, who got out to a pretty nice lead, but lost about a tenth of that lead last lap to Rando, who I think has the fastest car here so far of the front runners. He's absolutely gapped our pole sitter Mathis Wells in the 20, who's now fading back to that number 1 Fernandez, and there goes about another tenth of that number 19's lead.
Yeah, it's definitely creeping in here, and what's really going to be interesting is how this 11 fares into this, because it doesn't really seem like the 11's off pace by too much. It seems that they're slowly catching him, so that could mean something big for this leader.
Yeah, and you also have to wonder if maybe those tires are, because he obviously put tires on because he came up here to try and repair some of that damage. I wonder if, if he took 4 tires and if maybe they're just kind of helping him mask some of the speed differences. Baby Ruiz looking for 6th place on Luke Rainey, trying to bring Lathan Strickland with him. Strickland gets abandoned by Riley Spruill. We're looking 3 wide through turns 3 and 4.
Oh, big hit for Luke.
Luke Rainey hard to the outside concrete. He'll drop back outside the top 10 in a flash. He was just up in 6th place. Now he's back to around 12th or 13th just because of one smack to the wall. And Sprotu moves by Lathan Strickland in the 48.
Yeah, I don't know if Rainey's going to be the happiest with that 48 car. He kind of forced himself in the middle there, and it put that 88 wide and in the marbles and out of the groove here. But Joe, this lead's starting to heat up.
Yes, it is. Jay Rando is gaining and gaining and gaining on Nolan Lawrence. He's got it down to a car length between the two. But once again, catching is one thing, passing is another. We'll see if Rando can try and find a way around this number 19 and if he can try and do it cleanly. He runs a little bit wider, maybe trying to get a run off the corner onto the straightaway. Gap stays about consistent, but he does have a slight run down into turns 1 and 2. Looking lower, but not close enough to make the move work. Further back in the top 10, give a shout out to Chris Jericho. Started back in 27th place. He's worked his way up to 9th place, and we haven't even had the pit stops yet.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see where everyone shuffles out come pit stops here. But this 97's trying to set up a move. It looks like he might be looking here on the front stretch, but don't think he can quite pull it off yet.
Oh, so close to the pass, but not quite there yet for Jay Rando. A great run off 2 right here. Looking lower. This might be it right here. He's looking lower down the back straightaway. Can he make the move work into 3? No, he cannot. Lawrence hanging tough in that 19, but you almost have to think it's a matter of time before that 97 finds a way around the 19.
Either whenever the 97 gets a big run, or if he can put this 19 into making a mistake here at some point, he might try to do it, because I don't know the last time this 97 backed off the 19's bumper. He's pretty much pushing him around the track.
It is so close between those two as they race down to turns 3 and 4. It's been the same gap for about the last 3 to 4, 5 laps. Rando is just dogging on Nolan Lawrence. Right there, got another run off 4. Now going to the inside into turns 1 and 2. Rando should be able to complete the pass on the bottom of 1 and 2, and he might just set sail from the rest of the competition.
That might have been that 19 saying, "All right, I see you. Calm down a little bit. I'll let you have it." He no need to be this aggressive this early on.
Lawrence is like, I'll just take a 2nd place. I'm still inside the top 10 in points, and I can move even further up if things go well. It looks like Strickland had a look on Jericho that time, but just couldn't find a way to get to the inside of that number 18. And in that 1 lap tray where the 97 passed the 19, he gained 3.5 tenths. That is a fast race car.
That's scary.
This car is fast too. This 33, Sarah Kirchner, she's been making move after move. She's now up to 8th place and right in the bumper for 6th and 7th. So Kirchner, she's up inside the top 5 in points and could move even higher after today's race. She's having a really good run once again as here we go. The battle is on for 9th place. Jericho had it, but Lathan Strickland, the 48, he wants it down to the inside, and they'll race side by side to turns 3 and 4. Looks like the 48 should get the spot on the bottom lane.
Yeah, a little transition there. Jericho's going to move up and move right back in line here as 81's held his ground for the most part as well.
Yeah, Simonowski, he's actually picked up a spot from where he started. He started in 12th place on the outside, so you would have expected him to fall back like we saw with Benny Lynn or Eli Bright, but the 81 has actually gained a spot in 11th place, so how about that for Samet Oskin? Just that 81 Fitzbrown Show Racing, they have been quietly consistent this season, and once again, looking for another good run. If it can stay like this, could be in a decent spot in points and should definitely keep their way inside the top 35 in owners points as we head into the 5th race of the season at Atlanta. Want to go a little bit further back here because there's cars making their way through the field like this man, Zachary Fitzwater Sr., up to 18th from last on the grid. Just a few cars behind him. How about this number 91? Colin Lewis came down pit road and took 4 tires instead of the 2 tires. The 91 has moved up. Evans has moved up, but not as high as where he was. He's only on 2 tires, remember. The 25 is stalled back there, so is the 12. But now Evans making a move on Colin Lewis into turns 1 and 2. And is going to get that spot. And here comes DeLello looking on Luke Rainey. The 88 hitting that wall has definitely hurt the handling of that car, and he's fading.
Don't forget that the 16 was also another car that came down pit road during that caution. He's moving his way up here slowly as well. And I believe I saw Brett Sear there a couple cars back.
Yep, Brett Sear.
Maybe he's right there. There he is.
So he's moved, but he hasn't moved too much. He's about where he was. So it's definitely, it's not a gain, it's not a loss. He just kind of broke even. So is this number 12, Mitchell Collins, who also came down the pit lane. This man, though, he struggled. This number 40, Benny Lynn, so is Angel Gutierrez. They both faded off of where they started. Lynn, remember, started in 2nd place. This number 40 is now back in 31st, going for 30th on Nathan Baird right here. And then you look at the 14, Angel Gutierrez. He started in 8th place. He's back at about with 32nd place, Keegan Thompson. So these 2 cars, obviously, they had the qualifying speed, but just not the long run pace.
Yeah, don't forget, I believe Thompson was involved in that wreck. I think he ran into the... Who was that? Was that the 11 that he hit?
Yeah, it looked like it was the 11 that he hit whenever they went up the racetrack right in front of him.
He's definitely not the happiest of campers right now, but he's managing. I guess you can say that he's managing.
It's just not a good day for him though either, because he's down around that 35th place in owners' points. So if he doesn't have a good run here, he enters into Atlanta, the last race before we get to the this season's owners' points mattering. He could enter right around that 35th place, and I mean, that's a dangerous spot for a team like Hendrick Motorsports to be in.
Yeah, definitely. And one guy that does not have to worry about that is that 97, who is continuing to grow his lead out here. As we can see, the top about 4 guys are kind of separating themselves from everyone else.
This 48 looking fast. Ethan Strickland passed Sarah Kirchner. He just passed Riley Sprotube up to 7th place, and 6th place is right in front of him. And pit stops are right in front of him as well. We have about 3 laps or so until these leaders start to come down the pit lane, and we'll see who is the first of the front runners to make the move in. Let's quickly get to our Gatorade audience analysis. Last week we asked who will be the first, or who will be the next first-time winner in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. It looked like it might have been Laura Chung for a lot of the second half of that race. She ended up losing the lead late and having to come down the pit lane, but the fans said it would be Sarah Kirchner at 36% of the vote, but all 4 of our drivers that we listed got over 10% of the vote.
That's a pretty good poll.
It is. That was as close to even as you could get. But this week we're obviously going to focus on the inspection failure, as we have Jay Randall now come down pit lane, so he's not going to let anyone undercut him. He's coming in immediately. So is Lawrence. Mathis Wells is staying out there, so is Nathan Stapleton. But this week, about the inspection failure at the California Speedway for Zachary Fitzwater Sr. How do you feel about the penalty for failing inspection after a race? Is it way too strict? Is it just a little bit too strict? Is it just right? Or is it not enough?
I mean, personally, I feel like it's probably just right. I mean, you get to keep the trophy because you did win the race, but what, you don't get the points, right?
Yep.
But do you get to keep the money?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure there's a fine for the team.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the thing that's going to hurt the driver the most is getting the points, right? Yep. So I don't think I see a problem with the way that the penalty is for failing inspection. Your car clearly wasn't legal, but yet you got an advantage from it. So yeah, cool, you get to keep the trophy, but again, the thing that hurts the most is the points. All
right, so you like it just as it is. As these pit stops have rolled through, Rando and some of the other front runners were some of the first to pit. Then we had another wave of cars come down, like Mathis Wells. Baby Rose Jericho stayed out longer, but these guys who came down pit road under that caution flag staying out even longer. It's Evans and DeLello and Colin Lewis all staying out for now. We'll see when they decide to come down the pit lane. They're praying a yellow comes out. They're praying it's not going to be them. As DeLello's hit pit road, he's already given up on the strategy. Now there's just 2 cars, Evans and Lewis, on this strategy of not yet pitting under the green flag. And look at the time they lose to the first tires.
Yeah, that 09 cleared the 31.
Yeah, they're gapping. Now I think Evans is like,
and here it comes. Oh my goodness.
Keegan Thompson a little bit aggressive with Justin Atkins right there. The 31 is going to pit. Now the 91 stays out. He just scraped the wall, but Colin Lewis will lead a lap. So both of them melting Ultra Motorsports cars led laps here today.
Could you imagine if a caution came out right now? Look how many people would be trapped a lap down, including this 97.
Does that remind you of a certain 43 car?
Well, sadly, the 43 car's not in the race anymore, but yeah, it does.
Well, that's slow.
Here
Randall,
he
look at
comes.
the 97 how much slow he got because of the 91.
Oh,
And now the
I didn't even
19
notice
is
that.
right there.
well, that was bad timing.
Yes, and Anthony Hernandez has gained as well. This is a 3-car race for the lead. Jay Rando, Nolan Lawrence, and Anthony Hernandez. I don't want to say that was planned from the 91 because they do have an alliance with Abraham Motorsports. I don't think it was planned, but I think it was just some terrible timing on everyone's part right there.
I think it might have just been a side effect of some guy staying out, and he had a really fast car catching a guy who is on tires that aren't the best, and he decided to come in. I mean, it's not like it's an easy pit road to enter.
No, it is not. As now we've cycled through the green flag pit stops, and this is going to be interesting because a lot of those guys, Trey, they came down like lap 38, lap 39. That's before halfway.
You thinking they might have to double stop it?
I don't know if they're going to have to double stop or if
I don't know if I can handle another fuel race.
I don't think any of us can. But as it cycled out, Hernandez is now up to second. He just passed Nolan Lawrence. Jay Reynolds still the leader. Lawrence is now in third. Fourth place all the way back here is Mathis Wells. Zidell must have even undercut everyone because he's up to fifth place. Remember, he's back around 16th. Then you have Nathan Stimpson in sixth. Seventh place is now Evan Hunter, so he must have also done a big undercut. Eighth is Collins, so he must have undercut as well. Ninth is Riley Spurleytube. Luke Rainey must have also undercut. He's now 10th. Strickland is 11th. 12th is Kirchner is 11th. Oh, Luke Rainey's a lap down, excuse me. The 88 is off the lead lap probably because of that damage. He's a lap down, so is the 77. Both of those cars had damage. 77 from the crash, 88 from hitting the wall. So Strickland's 10th, Kirchner's 11th, Sierra is now 12th, and then you have Fitzwater 13th, Jacob Miller 14th, Jericho 15th, Oskin now 16th. You have Eli Bright, Nathan Baird. So Trey, looks like there were a lot of cars that really played an undercut game, and I'm wondering how it's going to work out for them if they're going to have to pit again.
Especially like, holy cow, this does not look good. Hold on a second.
The 11 still hasn't pitted. Up at the front, there's a battle for the lead because the 91's trying to get his lap back because he's on better tires than these guys. It slowed the 97 up, and now the 1 and the 19 are right back on top of him.
Yeah, given that this 91 has better tires and we're going to catch a lot of traffic here soon, this race for the lead might get interesting.
The race all over the racetrack is getting interesting.
I forget what I was talking about beforehand, I'll be honest.
There's a lot to try and remember here, and there's a lot that we can talk about here at this racetrack because we had that like pack of 10 cars over there behind these race leaders. I mean, there's too much happening.
There's a lot happening. It's going to be interesting to see how these leaders navigate all of these all of these lap traffic cars here.
Especially some of the ones that have damage, right? Like the 15 has damage, and look at this right here. Ooh. The 19 is still being a little bit of a nuisance to some of our race leaders. The 1 finally got around. The 19 is now the next one up. Here's the first of the damaged cars. 15 Ryan Wilson with Jay Rendo to his inside. It looks like he might just yield to him.
15 kind of exited the corner a little low there, don't you think?
Well, he exited low. He exited high the last time when he got to a crash. So maybe he oh, we have a car. Or that's the 11 on pit road. Finally coming down for Joshua Harrison.
Just say, he was going slow enough. He probably doesn't have to, he doesn't have to come as early as the rest of these guys have. But yeah, this 91 is not playing the nicest with the leaders. I mean, you technically don't have to listen to the blue flags or listen to the leaders coming past you, yielding your position.
Yeah, normally they only want you to listen to that if you're already a lap or two down, right? If you're already off the lead lap, once you're on the lead, you're on the lead lap, you're fighting for something. If you're off the lead lap already, you gotta move at that point.
Yeah, so it's almost like, I guess you can say one of those unwritten rules, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like
it's probably written somewhere.
It's not enforced, but implied that you can move out of the way if you want, but we're not going to force you to. We're not going to police everything that much.
You don't technically have to.
Yeah, it'd be appreciated though if you're one of the one day you might be the lead lap car that needs it, but
yeah, I guess it's one of those things where I guess you got to try to build good karma or take your risk here. And this 91 is all over the back of this one car. I mean, it's not like the one's really losing time to this 97.
No.
He actually might be kind of gaining a little bit.
He's broke even the past few laps, and now the 97's catching up to another damaged lap car of Justin Atkins. So I have to see how he plays with the 30 car here, and if the 30 holds him up any. We saw him get around the 15 pretty clean. It looks like he'll do the 30 as well, down to the inside of turns 1 and 2. Nice. A lot of room given by Justin Atkins and the 97 clear. So that was a great job by Atkins, getting out of the way of both of the front two.
And the one's going to dive it in there, hit his normal line. He should be fine, clear him by the time they get up here. But one thing he might not have cleared is this 91 who's looking to the inside of him.
Yeah, Colin Lewis got to run.
Hernandez is not going to like that.
No, he's not. And the bad thing about this is, the 91, sure, he's a little bit faster, but I don't think he's fast enough to where he might just go up there and, catch the 97 and pass him, right? I don't know if he's that fast.
I mean, he battled the 19. You see where the 19's at compared to the front two, right? And now he battled the 1, and we'll see how much time the 1's lost. Considering that he was a 2/10 behind, or technically 3. He lost 2/10 that lap.
Yes, he did, and look at that. Pack of cars the leaders have to get. Well, the 91's there, so he might actually pass this 97. That could help Hernandez out, depending on when the 97 gets passed here.
Well, if it's anything like he passed the 1, he might lose time here, but really, how hard is it to pass this 97?
That's a good point. We know that the 97 is probably faster than the 1, and we'll have to see what Colin Lewis can do to try and get around him. But I think Randall's bigger issue is all of these lap cars that are out the windshield, the 54, the 5, the 67, the 09, the 11, the 14, the 31, the 32. I mean, it's an endless line of lap cars, and you have a lap car behind you trying to get a lap back.
Who isn't a lap car? It's probably easier to say, huh?
At this point, yeah. But also another thing I'm still worried about is that fuel. Because we saw last week where we said, oh, they should easily make it, but they didn't make it, right? And these guys pitted before the midway point like the 97 did, and the 1 and the 19. The 20 came in a lap later, we know that for sure. But, I mean, can these guys who pitted before midway make it on fuel? And even some of the guys that pitted even before these guys, like the 36 who pitted early, the 24, can they make it?
Joe, it's hard to tell. I mean, it threw me off when they pitted before halfway. So you would have to think, right, if you want to make it to the end, pit at least at or just after. Oh. But these guys aren't listening, as we now have, I guess, not technically a pass for the lead, but a pass going from the lead.
And the reason the 91 was so aggressive with that, these cars in front of him are now going to be for position. He's back on the lead lap, so if he passes the 54, the 67, the 5, the 09, these are all spots and points. So Colin Lewis definitely wants to try and get by those guys as quickly as possible and get these spots. And we know the 91 can make it on fuel, so he could get a lot of spots if some guys run dry. The only thing I'm thinking is that they know the times are going to fall off more this run because we might not get a caution flag. The first run had that yellow interrupted. We took about 4 or 5 laps under the yellow flag, so the tires didn't wear out as much. So they can maybe go longer on this run, but I'd still be nervous.
Oh, I would 100% be nervous. It's going to be really curious to see how all this works out. I mean, look at this, Joe. How are you gonna navigate your way through this and not lose time to the guy behind you?
I'm gonna hope and pray, I think, because there are cars everywhere in front of the race leader, Jay Randall. The first of them is Jude Martinelli in the 67. Now, Jasper does have a small alliance. Oh, we're wrecking!
Oh my goodness!
Ali Liera and Keegan Thompson wrecked in front. There's no yellow. Oh, that was going to be yellow. Nolan Lawrence ran into Keegan Thompson, who was off the pace.
That's Lawrence, a dangerous spot to be.
He got it low, thankfully. The yellow is now going to come out, and everything's going to change again. And these two might not be the happiest.
What started that?
It was entering turn 1.
Yeah, I don't understand how.
Well, Trey, now what do? Do you pit? We saw this last season where people pitted and then ran out of fuel because they ran faster than they were expecting to, and they didn't fill their cars up on a pit stop.
You would think they have to pit, right? They would probably going to be short on fuel, but I truthfully cannot tell you.
We're going to see what the strategy call is for the race leaders. They're thinking it's too late. They're going to stay out. If someone up at the front pits and they get a large group with them, oh, but no one so far.
So maybe they are good on fuel.
Oh, I cannot believe no one's taken. Wow. That would have been free spots.
It would have been.
They're scared of what happened last season.
I'm going to say it again, Joe. They're the smart guys on the pit box for a reason, and we're just up here in the booth.
That is true. Well, hopefully they're smart. If they run out of fuel, then they're not going to look too smart.
Wouldn't be the first time this season that's happened, right?
Yeah, just like last race. But we'll go check out what happened. It was all sorts of calamity right around the race leaders. First, it was Keegan Thompson and Ali Liera getting together. And then Nolan Lawrence had nowhere to go in the 19. And he runs right into the number 5. We'll go check out what happened to bring out the second caution flag here at the Rockingham Speedway. Well, Trey, I think the tempers have boiled over for Keegan Thompson this season. He's already had a bad enough season as is. Ow. He just ran right through Ali Liera and put her into the concrete.
I mean, I don't know how else you'd explain it. I mean, just wrecked it. Wrecked them. How else do you say anything, Joe?
Yeah, I don't know what went on between the two. I don't know if something happened before and Keegan was mad about it, or if that was just, spur of the moment. Then right here, Thompson was kind of staying in the middle of the track, was coming down the track a little bit. I don't know if Lawrence knew where he was going and ran right, just square into Keegan Thompson. And then Keegan still wasn't done with Ali Liera, kind of going up and terrorizing her a little bit more.
Yeah, and then, I mean, it's not like this is the end, because they're going to come into the corner here, and, I mean, you can already tell the frustration's boiling over from turn 1, but going to come all the way into 3 and 4. You're going to see the 09 duck low, the 5 ducks low.
She sees the 5 now to her right, and she goes, well, wait a minute, and just misses.
Oh, just misses. I mean, what is this?
Yeah, it's turned into something, and that could be, I don't know, maybe this can continue if both cars stay in the race. Who knows? They both have fresher tires now, so that's going to be something to watch out for. But we'll go take a look at this wreck one more time at full speed. And here's one more view. We'll print out the very rare second caution of the day here at the Rockingham Speedway.
Oh my goodness.
Can't tell you the last time we had 2 cautions in a race at Rockingham.
I think we've had the same amount of cautions this race than we have over the past, 3 years.
Well, past 3 years has only been 1. So we've doubled.
Oh, how far back do we have to go then?
Probably pretty far. I don't know. We normally only have 1 or 0.
Oh my goodness! I don't know if NASCAR might want to have a talking with these two.
Yeah, before the restart, not want to end this race under the caution flag, right?
NASCAR going to be talking with a lot of people this race, I feel.
NASCAR's already talked to a lot of people this season. Hopefully they don't have to talk with these front two. It's going to be Jay Reno versus Anthony Hernandez for the race victory with under 10 laps to go in the Subway 400 at the Rockingham Speedway. 9 laps remain here at the Rockingham Speedway in the Subway 400. Speaking of the race sponsor, Trey, very glad that yellow came out. We got that commercial break because our runner Ralph had just brought up some Subway sandwiches that we wanted to eat. That yellow came out at a perfect time.
These things are good.
They are very good. I see why they sponsor the race now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, how could you not like these things? What'd you get?
I got a nice turkey sandwich. It was it's pretty good.
That sounds. I went with the classic Philly cheese.
That is a good one.
Yeah. How can you go wrong with that?
I'll have
right?
to get that next time.
Hopefully Ralph got some for himself too.
Well, yeah, and hopefully whatever we have left over, we can put in some Rubbermaid and send it home.
Yeah, I think we can figure something out.
Yes,
But Joe, we have a race to finish here.
Yes, we do. 9 laps to go. It's Rando versus Hernandez. They're first and second. A lap car separates them in third place. Wells was a 3 lap cars in between he and Riley Spurlitube. We'll see who gets the jump. It's going to be Rando get the jump. Green flag back in the air. And Hernandez was caught sleeping on that one.
Yeah, that's definitely not what he wanted to do here. So he's got a clean track, well, as clean as you can get, I guess. But the worst part is that 97 has clean air. We know how he is up front, so it's going to be an absolute dog race to the end here. As we can see these guys racing in the back, 3 wide's not going to turn out good.
Well, that's a lap car battle right there. The 88 and the 15 are lap traffic. Zidell held up on the outside again. Up at the front, Riley Spurtu trying to keep 4th from Strickland, trying to put a lap car between he and that car. Hernandez staying with Rando for now as they race their way down the back straightaway. Nolan Lawrence back here in the 19, obviously slower on the straightaways. So he looks pretty good in the corners, and then he gets to the straightaways, and you're like, oh boy.
We're looking
and DeLello shoving Eli Bright almost into Chris Jericho. They're going to be 3 wide all the way down the front to turn 1. Jericho's going to look around the outside. Bright is looking in the middle with Zidell. Richardson all the way to the bottom, gets about 3 cars in 1 pass.
I don't like how these guys are racing right now, Joe.
They're trying to end this race under caution, if not get one more restart in.
I know one person that does not want that to happen. No, well, the restart, sure. The ending under caution, no.
Well, no, the one just cut out about 7/100ths that lap. He's looking good.
He is slowly catching this 97. You got to think there's enough time left if he can continue to dig into this lead. But again, the hardest part is going to be is getting around this guy.
We know that. We know Hernandez, though, could be aggressive with Jay Brando if he gets to him. He's been aggressive in the past with cars in front. He broke even that lap. No one gained a single inch on the other. Still about 0.2 of a second between the front two. This man in fourth place might be the fastest car, but he's going to run out of time. Riley Spurge, who got by the 77 a few laps ago. Now he's right with the 20 of Wells for third place and could possibly pass him in. Who knows? But still, coming around to 4 to go, fuel is still kind of in question. We still don't know if these guys can make it or not.
Hernandez lost a very small amount of time that lap, so we're going to have to see if it continues to go down, or if he can figure out something here. Like you said, Joe, I truly don't know what fuel's going to look like here.
The field is shuffling all around further back in the pack. Cars are, passing each other everywhere. Cars are shuffling around. Riley Spurtube is right on Mathis Wells with now 3 laps to go. Once again, I don't think he has the time to run down the leader. He has to gain a second in 3 laps and also pass a few cars to do it. But I think third place is definitely up for grabs for Riley Spurtube as they race down the back straightaway. He's right in the back of Mathis Wells and is going to pressure him in these final 2 laps for that third position. And who knows, the front two, if they run out, this could be the battle for the lead with now 2 to go.
Yeah, they got to be careful here. Just like you said, anything could hurt them. The front two broke even yet again. So I don't think, unless that one can gain 3/10 in 2 laps, it's going to be hard.
It would be a monumental effort out of Anthony Hernandez, but coming around through turns 3 and 4, the white flag is shown for Jay Rando. 1 lap to go. The battle for third is going to go all the way to the wire. There's the white flag for Rando. Hernandez still about that same 3/10 behind, has not been able to close in. Roush Racing has been so good here in the past, and they're good here today. They won 3 races in a row from 2001 to 2002. That string broke last race with Mathis Wells winning, but they're going to start a new one as Jay Rando wins his first race for Roush Racing here at the Rockingham Speedway.
Well, I guess fuel wasn't a factor.
It was not, and maybe that caution helped those guys out, and there were some drivers that pitted soon, and they stole some very good finishes and gained a lot of track position because of it.
Yeah, definitely, and that's good to see, and I think we can easily say that the most dominant car of the day won this race.
Yes, Jay Rando for sure. Definitely the best car here today at the Rockingham Speedway, and he definitely deserved this one. And Hernandez, though, he gave it a shot. He stayed with them on that final run. I think he had to drive his car a little bit harder than Rando did, and that was the difference.
Yeah, definitely, and we know that at least this time he didn't have to run into a pit road wall to ruin it. And this one, he can celebrate it.
Yes, he can. He got 2 victories last season in Frederick Motorsports. He was the only Hendrick car to win last season. This season, he's the first Roush car to win a race, and he's the new Roush guy, but he might be top dog there this season. He just wins in everything he sets foot into, and you have to think that now into a Roush car, it's going to be, exponentially better.
I was going to say, I think he's fitting in just fine.
I think he is. As we take a look at the finishing results from the Subway 400 here at the Rockingham Speedway, it all belongs to Jay Rando right here for race number 4 as he claims victory over Anthony Hernandez, who came close but has to settle for second place. That battle for third went all the way to the checkered flag. It ended up with Mathis Wells over Riley Spurtube. Lathan Strickland ends up with the top 5. Really good runs for starting mid-pack. And how about Evan Hunter? He started mid-pack on the outside. Never talked about him until after pit stops because he undercut everyone in front of him. He jumped all the way up to 6th place, right where he finished. Evan Hunter now makes it 4 straight top 10s to start out the season. Incredible in that number 36. Brett Sierra, just like his teammate Lathan Strickland, mid-pack most of the day. He came down pit road, remember, under that first yellow, got tires, and then whatever strategy he pulled with pit stops and allowed him to get up to 7th place. Zachary DeLello in the same boat as at number 25. He flew up to 8th place at the end. Sarah Kircher continues her string of just solid, quiet, very good finishes. 9th place for her, and 10th place goes to Keyshawn Richardson. That is 3 of the Roush cars inside the top 10 here today. Eli Bright with a very solid day in 11th place. Justin Seidel definitely wanted a lot better. 12th place. Sabet Ozgen continues his string of solid races in 13th. Chris Jericho, solid after starting mid-pack in 14th. And Tim Garrett, the top 15. That number 10 continues his string of just solid, consistent finishes. Benny Lynn gained back at the end. Remember, started front row, fell all the way back to around 30th place, moves back up to 16th. Nathan Baird in 17th, a good run for that Bill Davis racing car. How about Matt Tuck in 18th after that big save in the first caution flag? And Conrad Evans, he pitted under that first caution from a top 10 spot, ends up in 19th. That strategy did not work out in his favor. Matthew Burnett completes the top 20. Colin Lewis was one to watch on that restart. He had the fresher tires of anyone on the racetrack. He moved from 31st on the restart to 21st, a net gain of 10 spots right there. Fitzwater fell on that restart, so did Nathan Stapleton. See, obviously Nolan Lawrence fell. He was hanging around a little bit, fell down to 28th as the run went on. Sebastian Kukulon just inside the top 30. Not the best of days for Richard Childress Racing besides Sarah Kirchner here today. Atkins involved with the crash. We had 32 cars finish on the lead lap. A lot of cars a lap down just from pace or hitting the wall or crash damage. We saw the 11 fall 5 laps down, the 45 and the 43, the only 2 cars out from that first accident of the day here at the Rockingham Speedway. We take a look at the point standings leaving the 4th race, heading into race number 5. And Trey, Evan Hunter, continuing that top 10 streak to start the season, 4 races, 4 top 10s, maintains that points gap.
Yeah, it's. I think he is solidifying himself as someone to watch this season, and for good reason. I mean, he is absolutely wheeling that 36 to finishes that. Honestly, I don't know if a lot of people would have figured that he would have gotten 4 top 10s in a row. But hey, good for him, good for his team, and I'm excited to see what he can do next.
Yeah, both MB2 cars have fired out of the gates this season, and I'm definitely looking forward to what the rest of the races hold. But next race straight's race number 5. That means you have to be inside the top 35 in orders points leaving Atlanta to lock your way in. So we'll have to see how it all plays out at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And oh, by the way, it's the first Winston Noble 5 race of the season, so someone could walk away with $1 million.
I think that sounds like a good payday.
Yes, it does. Watch out for Chris Jericho, Eli Bright, Sebastian Kukulon, Justin Atkins, and Keyshawn Richardson. They'll be going for $1 million next week, and we'll see if one of those 5 can get it done at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. But that's it from the Rockingham Speedway. It's another NASCAR Winston Cup Series victory for Jay Rando in the number 97. Congratulations to he and the Roush Racing team on a very dominant day here in the Subway 400. For Trey Bardo, I'm Joe Rakowski. So long right here on JRTV.